Hello, Blue Jays fans, and welcome to Sunny Side of the Dome. I'm your host, Karen Soutar, and I'm here to talk some Blue Jays baseball with you for the next half hour or so. Sunny Side of the Dome is brought to you by Jays from the Couch. We stream live Thursdays at 6 p.m., and you can find us on Jays from the Couch's YouTube channel or Facebook page or Twitter page. And if you are following along live and you think of a question or comment, please do send it all in. I love that fan interaction. I think it makes the show just that much better. And if you don't catch the live show, but you still want to see what I have to say about the Jays this week, then no problem. When you're ready for us, we're ready for you. You can find the archive version on any of those aforementioned medium, so Facebook, Twitter, or the YouTube channel. And if you like the content here at Sunny Side of the Dome, there's lots more where that came from. There's Jays from the Couch's main podcast, which is Mondays at 6 p.m. That's hosted by our founder and senior editor, Shaun Doyle, and he's always got lots of interesting things, other people on there with them to share their perspectives. Often there's guests, and that show is also available as a radio podcast, as well as watching the audio-video version on those other medium. So lots of ways you can access it. And the other YouTube show, which I hope you've been watching, and if you haven't been, you really should, is the On Feck Circle. That's Tuesdays at 6 p.m., and that's hosted by Steve Feck, my crazy Blue Jays, Jays from the Couch colleague. And Steve's always got lots of interesting things to say. He's smart. He's funny, he's outside the box, has lots of unique perspectives. So On Feck Circle, don't miss it, Tuesdays at 6 p.m. And hello, Blue Jays fans. How's it going, everyone? I hope you're as happy and excited as I am, because as of today, there's just 8 days until the regular season starts for our Blue Jays. Not that I'm counting or anything. Yes, I'm counting. I'll be there opening day. Hopefully a lot of you will too, or if not, I'm sure you'll find ways to watch, listen, follow along. And I'm really expecting this to be a good season for the Blue Jays, as a lot of people are. I mean, there's people, Buster Olney just this past week, he's not that I know of. He's not a Blue Jay fan per se. He's with, I believe it's ESPN, excuse me, that he predicted the Blue Jays to win the 2022 World Series. So thank you very much. People are noticing. They're noticing the things that this team has done, the improvements, just the internal improvements, free agent signings, trades, moves like extending Jose Barrios after they gave up two fairly significant prospects to get him, and it looked like they might only have him for a year and a half, and nope, now they've got him for seven more seasons. So lots to look forward to. Leading off today, before I get to the heart of today's order, so there are a few transactions to talk about. I actually, if you were watching last week, I spent most of last week's episode talking about transactions because there were a few pretty significant ones between Yusei Kikuchi, Matt Chapman, and then trading away Randall Grichuk. There was a lot to say there. So this week, I'm going to focus on actually a few minor league signings and what, for the leading off anyway, and what their implications might or might not be for the Blue Jays. So again, before I get into this, remember the old baseball adage, there's no such thing as a bad minor league deal. In MLB terms, it costs them next to nothing money-wise. They're not guaranteed a roster spot. They're not usually on the 40-man roster, at least to start off with. They come to spring training. The team sees what they can do, and then decides whether they think they can perform and whether there's a roster spot out there for them. So there were a couple of signings actually back on March the 10th, and if you recall, that's the day that MLB and the MLBPA finally ended all this silliness and got us all a new collective bargaining agreement. So if you're a baseball fan, chances are that was taking up a lot of your attention on that day. So you might or might not have noticed that the Blue Jays, they re-signed, they brought an old bird back to the nest, so to speak, and right-handed relief pitcher Joe Biagini. And then also they signed free agent first baseman DH Greg Bird. So first we'll talk about Biagini. He was a Blue Jay. He was actually drafted by the Jays in the Rule 5 draft from the San Francisco Giants organization. And he was with the Jays for 2016 up until the deadline, the trade deadline on 2019. Biagini had a very good rookie season with the Blue Jays. They were a playoff team that year, if you recall. They went as far as the ALCS, and Biagini was a solid contributor out of the bullpen. He really pitched some leverage innings. He had a 3.06 ERA. Unfortunately, after 2016, he really didn't have the same kind of success as he had in his rookie season, which is too bad. So he has a career ERA in Major League Baseball just over 5.03. So not really all that great. He hasn't pitched in the major leagues all that much over the last couple of seasons. In 2020, he pitched in 4 games and had a very inflated ERA, 20.77. And then in 2021, he only got into 1 game, and that was it. His season was done. So I like the fact that the Blue Jays are giving Joe Biagini another chance. I mean, they're casting a wide net, which is what they should do. They've got some good major league moves, some free agents in that way, and trades, as I said. And then they've also brought some guys in on minor league deals, because you never know. You need your depth. And it wouldn't be the first time if even one of these guys, they've signed a handful of relief pitchers to minor league deals. If even one of them can perform well enough to be in the major leagues at some point and help the Toronto Blue Jays, then fantastic. Very well done. So yeah, as far as Joe Biagini, I mean, everybody who follows the Toronto Blue Jays knows about Joe Biagini. They know about his personality, his humorous, he's very quirky and unique, real fan favorite, and I'm a fan of his as well. Certainly for the person that the information that I have about the person that he is, because as fans we don't really know these guys or what goes on behind the scenes or anything like that. So glad he's got another chance. Am I going to bet the farm on him pitching well enough to actually help a major league team like the Toronto Blue Jays win? I wish I could say yes. That the realist in me is saying don't bet too much on that, because there's a reason why, unfortunately, his ability in Major League Baseball hasn't been what it was in his rookie year, but we'll see. Maybe he can surprise. He's gotten into 3 games this spring training, hasn't given up any earned runs, so that's great. His whip is a little high. It's 1.88, and he actually pitched today in a Blue Jays win, 5-3 over the Detroit Tigers. Got himself into some trouble, hence the whip there, but got out and didn't allow any runs. So we'll see. Anyway, Joe Biagini, wherever you end up, whatever you end up doing, whether it's back with the Jays in the major leagues or somewhere else, all the best to you. So that's that move. And excuse me for just a moment. Okay, so next up, Greg Bird. Yes, that Greg Bird, the one that was a highly touted prospect of the New York Yankees. burst upon the scene with them in 2015, and he did very, very well. He had an 871 OPS, left-handed hitting first baseman, and then unfortunately after 2015, his just again his results in MLB, they really weren't there. He missed all of the 2016 season, and then in 2017 through 2019, every year his stats got progressively worse, and significantly so. So his OPS by year, so 2017, 710, not really what you want. I mean, if he were a gold glove fielding center fielder or shortstop, then maybe you'd live with that. As a first baseman, you want a lot more than that hitting wise. So 710, 2018 down to 672, and then 2019 down to 550. And finally, the Yankees decided that they couldn't give him any more chances, and they let him go. Now, the thing is with Greg Bird, injuries were a very big part of that. And you don't really know when there's injuries there, how much of subpar performance is attributable to the injuries and how much is it's that MLB just caught up with them. So anyway, he's been trying to work his way back into baseball, into professional baseball. He played the 2021 season with the Colorado Rockies AAA affiliate, and he hit quite well there. He had an 894 OPS. Now that's not the same as Major League Baseball, obviously, and for whatever reason, he didn't get a chance with their Major League club. So the Blue Jays signed him to a minor league deal with an invitation to spring training. And so far, I know it's spring training. I know it's a limited sample size. There's like 100 caveats. So far in 8 games, he has a 1200 OPS. Now, obviously, that's not going to continue in the regular season, assuming that he does make the Major League club. But if he can hit anything close to that, if he can recapture some of the talent that he used to have, then he would be a welcome addition to the Blue Jays. So we'll see. At this point, if I had to predict, the Blue Jays actually do have, the last time I checked anyway, 2 open spots on their 40-man roster. They only have 38 players there. So they could, if they wanted to, add someone such as Greg Bird to the 40-man roster without having to DFA someone and risk losing them from the organization altogether. So I think if I had to bet, and from everything I'm reading, even from people in the know and all that, I feel like Greg Bird is going to make the opening day roster, and then it's just up to him to perform and hit well enough to help the Jays win some games and prove that he belongs and can stay with the Jays. So we'll see about that. Excuse me. Most recently, just in the last day or so, the Blue Jays signed a veteran outfielder, Dexter Fowler, also to a minor league deal, and he's in camp with them now at spring training. So Dexter Fowler is very interesting. He's, I believe, 38 years old, MLB veteran. His 2021 season ended prematurely because he needed surgery on a torn ACL. And I'm hearing different things. I heard a bit from the Toronto media today that even if they wanted Dexter Fowler on the roster and they wanted him to start playing major league games for them right away, he's not quite ready. He's still recovering from the surgery. So there's that. Dexter Fowler, he's a switch hitter. And again, the Blue Jays, just with their heavy right-handed hitting lineup, they really want someone who's either a left-handed or a switch hitting, excuse the heck out of me, a switch hitting player. They just want guys who are able to hit from the left side of the plates. We hear about it all the time, and I don't know. I'm not an expert. It kind of seems to me like there might be too much influence and emphasis on that. I mean, if you have 9 Vlad Guerrero Juniors in your lineup, would you get rid of 1 or 2 of them because you want a left-handed hitter? To me, I take quality over the left-handed hitter, but that's just me. So yes, Dexter Fowler, He was a free agent after the 2016 season. He was an all-star in 2016. He had a 123 OPS plus. And yeah, he did quite well that season, and then he was a free agent, and there were rumors that the Blue Jays were very interested in signing him. He ended up signing a multi-year deal with the St. Louis Cardinals, and honestly, did pretty well in 2017, but after that, you look at his numbers offensively, and they were really nothing great. Dexter Fowler has always been a bat-first player. For someone, an outfielder who's had good speed and so forth, you tend to think that his defense would be pretty good. For whatever reason, it's not. I don't know if it's not having the best judgment or getting good reads to balls, but for his career, Dexter Fowler is a minus 91 defensive runs saved. So all I can say is this: if he ends up making the Blue Jays team and in the major leagues at any point whatsoever, I really hope that he's just mostly used as a pinch hitter off the bench when there's a tough right-handed pitcher in there and maybe they want a lefty, someone who can hit from the left-handed side of the plates. Maybe he can be useful in that way, but they've got to watch their defense. That's one thing. If I think they have an area that they really need to pay attention to now, it's defense. So anyway, that's the leading off for now. And now into the heart of the order. And what I want to do with opening day almost upon us is I want to take a look at the Blue Jays overall as a team and just an overview of where they are right now and what it kind of looks like they could be going into this season. So knock on wood, obviously we just want everybody to stay healthy and to go out there and do everything that they're capable of. So of course, this time of year, MLB comes out with all kinds of projections and all of that. So they've been releasing over the last few days. So first of all, the lineup. So who has the best lineup in Major League Baseball? So Anthony Castro Vince of MLB rated the Blue Jays as having the second best lineup out of the 30 teams in Major League Baseball. Want to guess who the first one was? A lot of you probably guessed the Dodgers, and you'd be right. So Dodgers projected to be number one, Blue Jays number two. So that being the case, that obviously makes them best in the American League. And honestly, I have to agree with that. Up and down that lineup, that they are just so stacked. With knock on wood, hopefully George Springer's injuries are a thing of the past. Let's hope. He's been playing in the spring, and I haven't seen any hints of any problems. He's also hitting very well, so thank goodness. Bo Bichette, he's Bo Bichette. He was an all-star last year, and for a player like him, I think the sky is the limit. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., I mean, he started to fulfill his potential last year, and I think he's got so many amazing seasons in him, and there's at least one league MVP there. And I bet there's going to be more than that. He's a superstar. He's a generational talent, just like they said that he was going to be. Just took him a couple of years to find that consistently in Major League Baseball. But Teoscar Hernandez, back-to-back Silver Sluggers, Lourdes Gurriel Jr., phenomenal hitter, and Matt Chapman, amazing with the glove. And a definite bounce back potential, I think, with the bat, because he's had some good years hitting before, and that's in Oakland, which is pretty much a pitcher's park. So last year, it's not like his offense was poor; it was league average. But again, he was still recovering from very serious hip surgery, so it's reasonable to assume that that affected his play as he was continuing to get back to 100%. So hitting in the Rogers Center, surrounded by that stacked lineup, and according to him, he's feeling better than he has been in a long time. So I see some real bounce back potential there. Kevin Biggio has looked very good this spring, and again, I agree with some people who say that the Kevin Biggio that we saw in 2019 and 2020, that's the real Kevin Biggio. I'm predicting an OPS of around 800 for him. Last year, he was playing hurt for a lot of the year, and he was playing out of position at third base. He's not a third baseman, he's a second baseman. And one of the things that there can be a domino effect with some of these positive moves. Signing Matt Chapman, it not only got probably the best defensive third baseman in all of baseball, but it allows Kevin Biggio to move back to second base, where really that's where he belongs. That they've used him in right field a couple of times. We'll see how that plays out. But anyway, I'm expecting a solid season from Kevin Biggio. Alejandro Kirk has looked great this spring. So whether he spends however much time he spends behind the plate, when he's not behind the plate and Danny Jansen is, Kirk might be your DH. He might share a little bit of that time with Greg Bird. We'll see. But yeah, I mean, this is a lineup that is so solid from top to bottom. I mean, you've got Santiago Espinal that seems to have bulked up over the winter. I mean, last season, he had a very good season, and the only thing he really didn't do is hit for power. He had a 311 batting average, a good on base percentage. He was versatile. His defense is very, very good. The only thing, the slugging percentage wasn't all that great. So he went and bulked up this winter, and now he's hit a couple of home runs in spring training. And yeah, this lineup is so stacked that I can't wait to see them go out there and perform on a daily basis. And opposing pitchers, watch out, because the Blue Jays are coming from you. So, or coming for you, excuse me, from you. And next, the rotation. So they ranked the best rotations in Major League Baseball. And the Blue Jays, they also were projected to do quite well there. They were rated as having the third best rotation in the majors. So who do you think was first and second? Give you hints, they're both National League teams. So once again, the Blue Jays are projected to have the best rotation in the majors. Or not in the majors, excuse me, in the American League. So the best rotation and the best lineup in the league. I mean, my goodness, how much better can things get? Knock on wood. Anyway, if you've had some time to think about it, the Mets are projected as having the best rotation in baseball, followed by the Milwaukee Brewers. So good for them. All the best to them. But yeah, I like the rotation top to bottom. Guys like Jose Barrios and Alek Manoah, who was a rookie last year, I think they're going to be very, very good. I don't think we've seen the best that the two of them have to offer as of yet. And I'm so looking forward to the next several years of watching them in Toronto Blue Jays uniforms. And then you've got some guys who are a little bit older than that. So Kevin Gausman, Hyun-Jin Ryu, Yusei Kikuchi. So with them, I have to say I'm cautiously optimistic. There's a wise, hey, Mikey Bananas, thank you. Thanks for your support. Glad you're enjoying it. But yeah, with the three of them, I'm cautiously optimistic. I see more of a wide range and variety of possible outcomes. I mean, you've got Kikuchi and Gausman, who were both absolutely lights out early in the season last year, and then they both kind of declined, and really so did Ryu. Ryu had 3 good months, mostly early in the season, 1 so-so month, and unfortunately in August and September, he just he didn't pitch well at all. So I'm really hoping that they can find a way to keep those guys healthy and fresh and get the best out of them in terms of their on-field performance. And then they do have some depth. So I would say Ross Stripling would be the sixth starter at this point. If and you know it happens. No team ever gets through an entire 162 game season with only 5 starters. So something will happen at some point. Someone might need to go on the injured list or however it goes. So Ross Stripling, who I assume will start the season as the swingman, longman in the bullpen, he would be the first one up if somebody needed to go on the injured list. And then there's other options after that. Who the heck knows about Nate Pearson, and is he going to be in the rotation or in the bullpen? And then there's other pitchers that will probably start the season at AAA, but who have significant major league experience. Anthony Kay, Thomas Hatch, Trent Thornton, all of those guys have talent. They just need to find a way, all of them, to stay healthy, because there have definitely been some injuries for Thornton and for Hatch anyway. To not only stay healthy, but harness their talent and make the most of it in the majors. So again, maybe one or more of them can step up and be very useful to the Blue Jays. We'll see. And then lastly, the bullpen. So how would you think the Blue Jays bullpen is rated going into the 2022 season? Well, fortunately, much better than their performance ended up being over the whole season in 2021, because as we will recall, their bullpen is a big reason why they just barely missed the playoffs. That there was a stretch of time, I think it was May, when the bullpen was finding new ways to lose for them. It was pretty sad. It was a bad joke, to be honest. But anyway, the Blue Jays currently are projected to have the 9th best bullpen in all of MLB. So I'll take that. With their rotation and their lineup, to also have a solid bullpen, and hopefully it'll play out that way, or who knows, maybe a little bit better. So yes, ninth best in all of MLB. So a bunch of teams obviously in front of them. 4 of them are American League teams. So that would put them 5th best in the American League. So to go with the rest of their team and what they can do, honestly, I'd take that, to have a bullpen that's in the top third, if you're ranking them by first, third, second, third, and third, if that makes sense. I like that. I like that potential. Jordan Romano, maybe he should hire a dog walker. And apparently he has a sprain that he suffered when he was out walking his dog. My goodness. Yes, how's that for freak injuries? They're saying they expect him to be ready for opening day, and hopefully he will be. But behind him, Tim Meza, Adam Simber, Trevor Richards, they were all solid last year. And then apparently the pronunciation, it's not Yimmy Garcia, it's Jimmy. So good to know there. But yes, he was a bit delayed getting into the U.S., visa issues and so forth. But we finally got to see him yesterday, and he looked pretty good out there. So, and this is someone who has been a closer in the past. So if he's someone that needs to step in on days when Jordan Romano isn't available, as they were saying actually yesterday during the broadcast, that he's one very solid option there. So you look overall at all of that, and I think that spells winning. I think the Blue Jays are in for a very good season. Finally back in Toronto for a full year. Thank goodness. The last time they were here for a full season was 2019, and it was a full-on rebuilding year. And if you were a fan back then, you know that was the short-term pain in the hopes of long-term gain. And then 2020, 2021, we didn't even get to see them at all in 2020. 2021, we had to wait until the end of July, had them here for 2 months, and just missed getting into the playoffs by 1 game. So I think this year is going to be different. Excuse me for just a moment. All right, so we are almost out of time for today. And that brings me to 3 Blue Jays colored glasses. So, wrapping up with the idea of the Blue Jays, the overall team, the outlook going into the 2022 season. I can't wait. I'm so excited, and I know a lot of other Blue Jays fans are too. And again, I mean, you hear I'm always on Twitter. I'm addicted to Twitter. And I mean, you're on there and you see other people, whether it's media or fans, even people who aren't necessarily into the Blue Jays, complaining that, oh my God, the Blue Jays, they're going to be a pain this year, aren't they? Yeah, they are. If you're not a Blue Jays fan, then yeah, you're not going to like them, because they're not going to make anything easy for anyone. Mark Shapiro and Ross Atkins, when they came in, they had a plan and they worked with it steadily, and they waited for it to come to fruition, and they had to do, like I said, a full rebuild. We all know back in 2019, and honestly, I think things went as well as they could have, maybe better than they could have expected, because in 2020, with the expanded playoffs, with 8 teams per league, that the Blue Jays actually made the playoffs as an 8th seed. So great to have that experience under their belts. The results in those playoffs, not so hot, but you know what? At least they got there. Last year, they were a better team in 2021 than they were in 2020. They only didn't get into the playoffs because it was back to 5 teams per league. And again, they just came so close. And if you looked at expected, I'm not big. Other Jays from the couch people know I'm not particularly big on a lot of expected stats. Give me results. But there is expected wins and losses, aka Pythagorean win-loss totals, and I don't even completely know how they get that. But looking at the expected record last year, it should have been 99 and 63, excuse me, 99 and 63. Well, they fell short of that, and maybe some of that was due to some bad, dumb luck. They've really made some good additions to this team. Yes, they've lost a few good players, a few key players from last year, notably Marcus Semien, Robbie Ray, and even Steven Matz. He made a significant contribution. I feel that the adds that they've made have balance that out and maybe even tip the scales. I wrote an article for Jays from the Couch a while back, before they acquired Kikuchi, before they acquired Chapman, and I'm sorry, but before they traded away Randall Grichuk. And I expected the Jays to be about as good as they were last year, maybe a tiny bit more. Well, they've surpassed that since then. With the additions that they've made, I think they look very solid from top to bottom. And Blue Jay fans, our time has come. My hot take, my altogether far too early prediction is that we're going to see them in the World Series this year. And I can't wait. I'm going to go to some games. How about you? So anyway, on that note, that's all I've got for you today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let's go Blue Jays. And I'll see you again in a week, the day before the Jays' first game. Wow.